A source now says it was Dr. Conrad Murray who gave Michael Jackson that powerful IV of Diprovan just hours before his death. And today, drug agents raided Murray's home and clinic. Do they have the goods to bring criminal charges? And people who text while driving, they could be 23 times more likely to crash. Just seconds glancing down, it's like driving the length of a football field blind. This is a deadly habit, and it has to stop. Want to hear from you on those topics and more. The number 1-877-TEL-HLN. Email me, cnn.com/prime news, or you can text us at HLN TV. Just start your message with the word prime. It's your chance to be heard.
Controversy, opinion, your point of view. This is Prime News.
Welcome. This is Prime News. I'm Michael Lala. A lot to get to. Two big developments right now in the Michael Jackson case. First, in Las Vegas, just hours ago, drug agents with search warrants in hand went into Dr. Conrad Murray's home and clinic. The home you see here is on the left, quite the estate there. On the right, the office. Looks like the walls could be closing in on Dr. Murray. Last night, we know, a source close to the investigation confirmed it was Murray who gave Jackson a powerful anesthetic in those very last hours of Michael Jackson's life. Joining me now to talk about this, Anita Kay, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor. Also back with us, Jim Murray, chief correspondent, Inside Edition. He's an attorney, also former CNN anchor. And also with us, Dr. Vimal Lala, board-certified anesthesiologist. We'll lean on his expertise and yours. We'll take your calls. 1-877-TEL-HLN is the number. All right, Anita, if Dr. Murray gave Michael Jackson propofol in his home, and we find out that's the main cause of his death, how's he not facing a manslaughter charge?
Well, Mike, I think he could be facing a manslaughter charge based on that, because if they can rule that cause of death was due to cardiac arrest, which is then due to this anesthetic being administered, and the doctor did, there's a strong argument to say he should be charged with manslaughter, because it's a disregard, it's what we call criminal negligence, and it would be an involuntary manslaughter charge here in California. And basically, he should have known better. To put it in layman's terms, he should have known better that this drug could cause death. It's being used off-label. We've talked about it. This should be administered in a hospital setting, not at home.
Right. As
well as what doctors would typically administer this drug and what safeguards. I understand there were oxygen tanks, but usually when you have anesthesia, and the doctor obviously can talk about this, there need to be ventilators. There are proper procedures that need to be in place. And any doctor who is not following that can be held liable and perhaps in the criminal arena be found guilty.
Well, let's go to Dr. Vimal Lala. Doctor, if someone is on propofol, what monitoring has to be in place?
Well, definitely you're going to have what we always use as anesthesiologists is a standard ASA monitors, such as blood pressure, a pulse oximeter to monitor the blood oxygenation, EKG monitoring, something called end-tidal CO2, carbon dioxide, to monitor to make sure that the patient is adequately breathing. And those are necessary while administering this medication.
And there's no way, doctor, that could be done safely and following all precautions in a home setting?
No. There's actually no indication for propofol or Diprovan to be used outside the hospital or an ambulatory surgery center setting.
There you have it. All right, let's bring in Jim Murray. Jim, again, this is the if the cause of death mainly is propofol, and it is Murray who gave it to him hours before his death. Hearing all of that, how do you fight that if you're Dr. Murray?
Well, I think one way you fight it is it's probably not going to be as simple as one drug that killed him. If you look at the Anna Nicole case, you had a virtual cocktail of drugs where any one drug might not have caused death, and perhaps the propofol alone wouldn't have caused Jackson's death, but there may have been other drugs that Jackson was taking with or without this doctor's knowledge. So this doctor might say, wait a minute, I'm only the last, his exact words, I'm the last doctor standing when Michael Jackson died. There were other doctors involved. I wasn't made aware of the other medications he was taking. He could say he didn't get the propofol for him. He didn't actually give it to him. He was simply monitoring him. There are a lot of different things he could use as defenses. However, I suspect that Dr. Murray will just be one of several doctors who are named ultimately when charges are filed.
Okay, couple things to hit on there. Let me go back to Dr. Vimal Lala. Doctor, just propofol, can it be the cause of death? What is the likelihood that is the cause of death alone?
Propofol in and of itself is a very powerful anesthetic. And the way that it can lead to death is it basically stops a patient from breathing. So in and of itself, yes, can cause somebody to stop breathing, which will lead to hypoxia, which is decreased oxygen in the blood, and then to cardiac arrest. With propofol alone, that can definitely cause death. If you add other medications into the mix, antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications or opiate medications, they all have a synergistic relationship to add on to the respiratory depressant effects of the medication.
And doctor, if someone has been administered propofol, you have to watch them, right? You can't leave doesn't somebody have to be monitoring? Either they're being monitored by machine or someone, really machine number one, and someone would have to be overseeing them, correct?
You have to monitor them with every single breath. And in our world, it's a board-certified anesthesiologist monitoring the patient second to second. Because in the world of anesthesia, things can go south very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's sobering right there just to hear that. Let's get